Okay, in last session we just had a brief about like the system architecture and the system environment and like IDE, like the SAP Cloud Application Studio, how the visually how it looks and like which are the main windows which we want to remember. So yeah, any queries on those things from the last session, or we are going to proceed with the
No, from my end, I'm good.
okay. So yes, so yesterday we just saw the things which we are like the main windows, right? We can just go through those ones in the UI itself. So yeah, so this is what I was talking about, like the my solution. So here we will get all the solutions which are created for this tenant under this tenant. So to enable that under the view, we can show this my solution. So this is the window, that's that my solution. And here the solution explorer, like once you open any solution under this, for example, like now I have opened the workshop assessment, as this is a sandbox, like there are many solutions which the students have created, but in a real project, like we will have only one or two solutions per the environment. So here this workshop management, if I double click, this solution will open. So here you can see, right, that workshop management. Under that, like what are all the items we have, it will be displayed in the solution explorer. And like we have grouping into the custom things like which we are developing, let's say custom view, extension view, like the grouping we are doing from the folder side. And then once you open anything, the properties, yeah, we properties. So property window, okay, yeah. So if you select any script file or the BO file, right here you can see the profile properties, like checked out by who created this file and when it was created and who was checked out, and then the path for this like repository path. Under the SAP extension view we have this under the customer, the complete path of this script we can see it here. And any this is the error list which I was talking yesterday. Let's say when if we open any of the script file and if there is any error, so it will show up here. See that it is suggesting that token, like we will close the syntax with the semicolon, so it is showing in the line 20 we have this error. So this is a error list, like which we can see it in the window. Okay, so these were the main parts here. And then yeah, so these are the buttons which, like, this is to save and activate a script file. Going forward we'll see. And then this is to start a debugger. These are the main things which we use here. And then this is what yesterday we were checking, right, this red dot. So yeah, so if it is a red tick means like it is a checked out by me. So you can see here option, now the check-in content is enabled. So if I check in this, and now this file is not yet saved and activated, right? If I save it, so we have two buttons here, like just a save and then a save and activate, we can do it together. Now if I save and activate, like we have an error, so it won't save and it will show like activation failed. So now you can see that red dot here, so it's not yet active. So once we have this semicolon and then save and activate, this code will get saved and then activation is completed. Once it is done, once we check in the content, so this will be pushed to cloud. So now this is logged, like it's in a cloud. So if you want to work on this, you can directly open the file and do something. It will go into edit mode, or you have an option here to check out a content. Once you do this checkout content, you can edit, so it will be logged by you. Okay, this was the things which we were checking in theory yesterday. Okay, like let's say if two users are working and one user has logged this, then this person icon will come saying that like someone else has logged the script file. Okay. Under this generic activity actions like we were checking, right? These were the ones like activate, check-in content and check-out contents. Check-in is to check into a cloud. Check-out means like for your development, if you want to modify something, we have to check out the content. Activate is to check whether the like script is complete, and then we can do it for the runtime, like object is up to date or not. This clean function is used to clear, like let's say if you have created any custom view and you have added some data. So in the future, like if you want to delete some, like in the development, like in development phase only, we can delete it once it is there. So if you want to delete some element and all, right, that time you have to clean the existing data, and then only we can delete that existing field. So this clean, what it does, it clears the entries for that custom view. Let's say you have created one view, and in the front end you have created one 4 or 5 records in the front end, right? So if that records exist, we can't delete a field. So we have to first clean the view and we can delete it. That's the clean option. And then yeah, delete is to delete this script file and like the item which we have, and then the translation for the this one we can maintain the translation. Those were the like common actions which we have for this, which we need to remember. Okay, and then yeah, this is fine. Like we will check in the going forward and just this. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir.
You were saying
Nothing,
something.
nothing, nothing.
Okay.
Sir.
Where is this? Where is this? Okay, these windows we have to remember, like the more things. So the one is this session administrator. So here, okay, it opened here. So here it will list like if any user has logged in, right? So here you can see these many users are working on some solutions. So it is showing up here like it is these users are working in the session administrator. And then comes this implementation manager. So this gives the what's the status of a solution here. So you can see this is the solution ID and what's the version and what is the status. Now you can see it is status is in development. Once we want to move this solution to a other test or production tenant, right, we have to assemble and download. That time the status will change to assembled. So then we will have to do this. So this is the window where we perform the version management, like the downloading and uploading of the solution. The implementation manager, and this is a session administrator to check like which users has logged in. If you don't want to, like someone has logged the system and went for a vacation for 2-3 weeks, something like that, if you want to close that session, you can delete the sessions using this. So the changes which were done by the this user, right, in that session will get lost. So this we need to remember before closing any session for that user. Usually we won't do this, like but if required, there is no other option, we can select it and delete that session so that the files can be locked by you again. Okay.
Everything, the windows, we are gonna go from view option,
View,
is it?
view. Yes, yes. All the windows will be there here.
Okay.
But if you want to have it like a few things which were we are recently using, right? So those things we can pin it up. So for example, this solution explorer and then the properties window. But this
Mm.
one we will not be using much. So if you want to pin it, like we can just add it here, so it will be there. Don't no need to close this. So yeah. So once we close it, if you want to enable it from here only, we can do it at under the view.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the main thing which I was talking about yesterday. This repository explorer. It contains details of all the things which is available in a C4C. So this is an activity, like this is standard view provided by SAP, right? So what is this name, and then in which deployment unit it is, and then like whether it's a PSM enabled or not. Those things and all we can, yeah. So here, right, public solution model release status, yes, released. Write access allowed, yes. So for some fields, we don't have this write access, means we can't create or update those fields. Let's say this one, if it is locked, right? So here you can see public write access is no, which means we can't update this field from the PDI. We can read it but not write. So this
Is
is
it the
what I
one
was.
that we are discussing yesterday as
Yes,
an uh,
yes, that was like public
like
solution that PSM enabled, right?
okay.
So this one, whether it's we can update a field from the backend or not, it will give here. So actual duration, let's say we need to update this field from the backend, whether we can do it or not, how to check from the public write access. If it is enabled, we can update it. For example, UUID, if you want to change, it is not possible because it's not public write access enabled.
The lock symbol even reflects the public right access.
Yes, yeah, yes.
Okay.
And then that's for like this PO details if you want to find out. Let's say, okay, let me go to this one and take one example. Mm, okay, this there is a start date here, right? So this is a UI name, but in backend this name might be a different. This is just a description which user has given. So if you want to check like what's the backend name for this, how we can check it, like if you want to go to a lead, okay, and under the lead we will have some association like a start date, and this if it is coming up here we can check like where is this field. Usually it comes under this okay, so, hmm, this is not there. That's what like let's say the status if we want to check, right? It will be here like life cycle indicator.
Some of the fields can be created using adaptation and functional module.
Yes.
Will those be getting reflected in here as well, or
No, not here. Here we won't get those. In the there is a separate place to check that once we are in that when we are going through that section, right? Maybe I can show you like where we will see those fields as well.
yeah, but we can just edit them through adaptation and the functional.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
That activity fields anyhow which we are creating, right? Those will be from the adaptation only. We could see like if you want to check like whether this is a standard field or a custom field, we just want to go to the adaptation and like
right.
if we have a edit button, then it will be a activity. If not, then it's either a standard or a custom field, like we
Yes.
created from the backend. So here, if this edit button is there, means this is a Qt field like created in a front end, the custom Qt field. Okay. If it is not there like status, then it would be a standard or a custom field created from backend. So all these fields like which are available for the lead, right? We could check it up here. So and then like if we have a lead is associated with the customer, right? That is coming as a backend like prospect party. From that customer, if you want to refer some fields, so how to navigate the structure, like if you are writing any code in the backend, right? Let's say they want to take the customer name, okay, from the lead or customer internal ID. So how you want to like don't know how, if you don't know how to get the go till that path, so you come to repository explorer, expand the lead object, or we have an option to query. So using that query we will query and then see that values from the front end and check like let's say this customer ID is this one 1762. So we can query this lead object and then we can traverse to this path like prospect party customer and then internal ID. This is where the customer ID will be stored. So if you want to refer this, this is the complete path like a lead, and then we have to dot prospect party dot customer dot internal ID. But in UI it would be just simply like the customer ID, right? So
Sorry.
if you want to, Mhm.
So how can we understand to navigate from the lead it is fine. Like when we go
Yeah.
into lead in UI, then you have to
Mhm.
just go into lead in SDK as well. But
Mhm.
when it comes to the sub parts, how can we understand where it is uh,
That's
under?
what, like, this will be the help for you to understand those parts. Like, I'm just giving one example here just to make you understand. Like, when we are doing the practicals, right? Like the any and so on, that time I will just explain you how we will traverse through this, like, but just I'm explaining you the concept of like repository explorer, what it is about.
Okay,
So
sure.
yeah, so we have this option query by elements. So using this we can like fetch one example record, and we have to traverse through that path to check like whether the value where it is stored. So that I will explain it. Just I'm giving a overview of like what is repository explorer, why we use it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Then I was
Yeah.
just thinking this that we are completely exploring.
And no. I'm
Okay.
just giving an overview of it.
Oh,
And then it comes to the data types, right? Here we have all the data types which we are using in the C4C system. So there are many data types which are used for different business objects. So these things we can refer it in our custom logics as well. And then here we have the custom bad implementation. Let's say in the workflow, if you want to determine some recipients or a signature, you want to. There are many scenarios from the enhancements until body one. So those all the baddies are listed here. You can, if you check one, like it, we will get some documentation about like what it do, what is this used for, and then the sample codes also you will get it here. Okay, and then this inbound service interfaces, like these are the web services which are inbound, like to the C4C. Let's say if we are replicating a contact address from the ERP system to our C4C. So this is the one which will be used. So, and then this documentation. Okay, it's not showing any documentation, but so here this business partner ERP replication, and this is the service which can be used to push the data from external system to a C4C. Those are all like inbound service interfaces for C4C are all listed here just for our reference. Okay, so all the things like which are in C4C, if you want to check, this is the place like repository explorer. With this, you will get all the content which is available in, which can be used in our custom logic for the C4C system. Okay, and then comes, yeah, these things I have explained it. Okay. Yeah, this data types anyhow, like yesterday we have gone through it. So yeah, so today we will start with our session for the introduction to the BODL and ABSL. So in a C4C, we have two scripting languages, like in the backend side with the scripting part. So one is this BODL and one another one is the ABSL. BODL is nothing but a business object definition language, and then ABSL means advanced business scripting language. So these two languages we will be using in a C4C. Okay.
What is the difference between BODL and ABSL? Why, in which scenario we'll use BODL and where we'll use ABSL?
Yeah. Okay. So this BODL, it will be used only in defining a structure for a business object.
Defining the
Okay.
structure of business object. Actually,
Yeah.
I have experience of Microsoft MVC and all these things where only C# we are using. So here two language.
Like it's just a similar language, but that only the structure will just change. That's it. Like that's what SAP has given the name. But like syntactically, both are same. So if we take any BO, right? If we created any custom BO, let's say this one. So the
Business object.
language which you use, the languages which you use in the definition of the business object is this one is called the BODL, business object definition language. Just like this element, then the what is the field name and what is the data type. This is this is it from
Data
the
type.
business object it's similar to the Java and JavaScript only, like how you define a
Aha,
variable.
I got it. It seems the razor page that we are using in the MVC.
That I don't have any idea. Sorry. Like I
It's
won't-
okay.
yeah,
Razor is something like that. The label and the HTML bootstrap and all these things are being combined there.
yeah.
CSS. Somehow it is
So,
depending the
yes,
design of the
maybe
page.
like yeah. So as far as I know, like I was working with Java and JavaScript, so it is just similar to those as well. So just how we define a variable, like variable name and then the data type. That's it. Like those are the way of BODL.
Oh,
And yeah,
I got
we
it. I
have
got
few
it. We are
syntax and that.
defining the class here.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
that you can say. It's just like a database table, how you
Yes. Yes.
code
Yes.
that
Yes.
in a
We are creating the model.
SQL.
Same,
Yes, yeah,
the same way.
yes. So these are the elements in the like in the table. If you are creating, these are the columns which will come, and then some actions and then association to the other tables. Those things we can define it here in the PODL. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the business object is a it's nothing but like a similar to a database table which we use to store the data with some different fields, right? Like we have to define a structure. Let's say for an opportunity we have 10 fields. Those 10 fields, like what is the data type, and like we have an opportunity, we have an association to a customer. So that association to a customer, all those things which we have to define, right? Those things we will define under this business object. So business object is nothing but the entity in a real world that we can take it as a business object. Okay. So yeah, um, business object is mainly consist of this one, like elements, associations, and then the nodes. Okay. So the language which we use to define the business objects in SAP C4C is called like business object definition language. When we creating a business object, right, we will declare elements and then the actions and then also this associations using this business object definition language. Okay. And then we can this business object is built upon a number of nodes. So let's say if we are creating any business object, right, that will have by default a node called root node. If you want to define under that business object like nodes in the nothing but the sub tables, like if you consider this customer as in full table. Just a minute, let me take the next and it would be okay. So let's say like this customer is a business object. Okay, so for the customer, like by default, a root node will be created. Let's say we have a customer ID. We will define these fields in the custom view, customer name, customer ID name, and then the address. Like let's say customer can have multiple address right? So we can't store a multiple values in a single field like a called address. So what we will do, we will can like, and address also have many fields under it, right? Let's say city, street,
Country
and then
pin code.
the yeah some country. So these fields will be like and single customer can have a multiple addresses. Right, so this one we can define it as an node, then the address like this one, like this we can define it, and like it can be a one to like 0 to n relationship. So either they can have one address or like multiple addresses. So if you want the repetitive data to be stored in any single record, right? Like for one customer ID, we have two addresses. In that case, we can go with that sub node. So where we will have like we can have an option to create a multiple entries for the single customer ID. That is what like called a nodes. Like it will have a tree structure, and then we can have one root node like a customer ID, and then the things which are related to customer, and for that addresses which we have multiple addresses, those things we can create it as a sub node, so it will store multiple details. So similarly, like for the if you take a sales order, right? So in the sales order, we have this item, buyer, seller, and delivery terms. So here we can have like multiple items for a single sales order, so that we can define this item as a subnode, and under that item node we can have item ID, like a product ID, and then quantity, price. Those things will be repetitive, right? So if there is any repetitive things, we can define it them as an child nodes, subnodes. Okay, those things. Yeah, so this is the main things which are available for the BODL, like to define elements under the BO. That's just nothing but what to state the fields in the root node. And like if you want to repetitive things, then we have to go with the child nodes, and then association. Let's say we have two BOs here. We'll take a lead example. So in lead, we will have a lead ID and then the name, and it is linked to a customer also. So instead of defining all the fields of customer here, we can directly associate this, like we have a concept of association. So if we mention association to, means what it does, it will associate the customer complete structure to here. This will we will copy it to here. So just this with the association, we can refer the so once we have it as an association, right, all this customers details, we can refer it in this association instead of we manually maintaining the customer fields here. We can do a association to the existing customer BO entity, so this all the records will be a part of the that lead instance. So that's the association concept. And annotations, like we have for the if you are creating any custom BOs, right, the alternative key, and then like if you want to change the label, like we have a technical name, and if you want to provide some user understandable name, so using these annotations we can create those like labels, and then the alternative key we can make it. So once we go into it on hands-on, like maybe we can explain those things as well. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's like
Element.
that.
Mhm.
It's like that. We defined user underscore name, but in the screen, if you want the
It will
customer
use
space
the
name,
name,
there, that's
yes.
why we'll describe that
Describe it as a label here and the
in
annotation
annotation.
and
Okay, okay.
yes, yes, yeah. Okay, so what is an element? Like business object contains elements that represent the attribute of business object. It's nothing but a fields which we use in a business object. Like let's say if you're considering an employee, so these are the like what are the fields, like employee ID, first name, last name. So these are the fields, right? These ones we are calling it as an elements in the C4C. So each element has a name and a data type. Okay, so how we are defining an field in the backend? So we have to, this is a syntax for this. Like if we are creating a field, we have to type element, and that's the keyword element, and then employee ID is a name. This can be anything, whatever the user wants, they can give any name to this, and the data type should match the existing data types from the C4C system. So that's what, like here, data types, right? Like we will get all the data types here. So ID. So this is what is this? This is the identifier which we will use to store the unique keys. Okay, so this is the employee ID, and the first name is a of type text, and last name is also of type text, and birth date. Here you can see it's a date. So this data types which we have to maintain. This
So,
is the syntax for creating any field in the backend. Yeah.
oh, in the repository explorer, I was struck just searching ID. Did you move it anywhere or?
Yeah, here in the data types, here in the search, I just typed ID and selected this ID. So
Okay,
once I select it here and this one loaded, so once we select it, the ID here, right, we will just see this documentation, what it is and what's the minimum length and the maximum length. All those things we
okay,
can see it here.
okay.
And
Your screen was frozen right there. Sorry.
okay, okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, and then this text you could see now. What's the text like? We don't have any minimum or maximum length for this. If you want a maximum length, those different data types we can use them. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. How to define an element? It's understood, right? Like this is a syntax which we can create a fields.
Yeah.
And yeah, what is a node? Node is a part of a business object, like, which will have like a repetitive things. Let's say like this is the one, like in a purchase order, we have this item, buyer party and seller party, right? So this item can be repetitive. So if this one has a separate set of fields, so that we can define this item as a node, and then which will be linked to the purchase order using the parent-child relationship. Okay. So, and that's like it's not like item 1 to n. If we are defining the cardinality, we need to have at least one item. If it is 0 to n means like we could have like it's not a mandatory to define item, and just the purchase order would be enough. Okay. So this node, how we will define it in the backend is just like uh, here if we go, so like this we will define just a node and then the node name and then the cardinality like 0 to n, 1 to n, or 1 to 1. These three cardinalities we have. So with like this cardinality, what it means is like it can be repeated for like either 0 or n number of times. Like if we give a cardinality as 1 to n, we can have we need at least one attendee list, and it can contain like more than one also. If we give 1 to 1, just one workshop can have only one attendee list, like that. That's the cardinality. This concept, right? The cardinality. What do you mean by this? Like it's how much of a relationship a node can have with the child node.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we define the node. It's just nothing but a node is an keyword with that node and then the node name. And this is a curly braces starting and ending with this. Like this is a complete node. Okay. So yeah, like if we are creating any node, right, all these events and then the basic CRUD operations will be directly created by a C4C system for us. So what it means is, let's say if we created this node in the backend, so if you want to create any script files, by default, like all those four script files will be created will be created in the backend for us, so we can enable and use it for our use. So under the root node, so these are all the events which is already there, which we can use them in our scripting. So for attendee list also, you can see, right, we have created just a node, like we have defined it here. So from the SAP has already provided us this events like after modify before save. So we can just enable them and use it in our coding for coding our coding part. So these are the 5 events like which will be there. Like after modify, if we are modifying any field, this will trigger. Maybe like this one we will have it in next sessions, like we'll just go through those. So once we create a node, right, all the events will be automatically created by SAP. So that's what like we have shown it here.
So creating node, we'll just right click on the solution explorer and we'll do it. But how they're gonna be all other changes then? Like is so do we have to select anything to get to make SAP prepare a node, or it's just that we create.
Yeah, this we once we have this syntax right here, node attend a list. If we are defining
Okay,
something here, then
okay,
only it will create this node in the SAP will create it for us. This is we have defining it. So
okay,
all
okay.
the definitions of the business of like if we are creating a new like here we have the lead and opportunity screens, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this custom views like if you want to create your own custom view, how to do it using this business object? Like we can create a business object and have our own fields and have
Mm-hmm.
our own nodes and then the associations.
Okay, okay.
Okay, this is how we build. Okay. And then associations, yeah, it's a unidirectional relationship between two nodes, as I said, right? So let's say like we want to link the two business object together. From the lead we want to refer a customer object. So instead of creating all the required like customer ID, name, all those things, if you want to create it in a lead, it will take like more number of fields. So customer object is already there. So why to create those fields again in a lead? So simply we can use this term association. So to the customer, if you want to, this is a name which it's like any name we can give it, and like this is a two is nothing but like two like which BO. So this is like default like in the repository explorer. What are all the BOs? We will get it here, right? These are the names. So if from the
Just
lead, if
trying
you
to, sorry, just
yeah.
trying to connect. So the customer is another BO
Business
that we have
object. Yeah.
created.
Yeah, this is a
Is it
standard view, which is already created by SAP.
okay?
So,
So the customer BO is already been created by SAP.
so just we want to refer those fields in the our custom view. Let's say we
Okay,
have some like internal ID and then the name
okay,
and then all the things like which are related to customer. These many associations and the fields we have it in a customer.
okay.
Right. If you want to use this all the fields in our custom view, like we
Mhm.
need to define the elements one by one. It will grow up like the list will be huge. So
Okay.
SAP has already provided custom view that is customer view. So what we can do, we can just link it to a this custom view using our association. So what it does, like here you can you are seeing right. Mm, okay. So like let's say employee responsible sales. So this one is a relation to a employee BO which we have already have. So here
Mhm.
see you can see this is a association. So in
Okay.
our customer view also we are just linking the employee view. So once we open it, all the fields related to employee we can refer it in our custom view. Instead of defining it one by one, we can just link it to the existing ones and we can
To
use
the
all the things which are
association. Oh,
available here. So here you can see like under employee, there are many things which are coming up.
right. Yeah.
So instead of creating them manually, like SAP has already provided this employee BO. If you want to
Mhm.
link it to something, that association we can use and we can get all the details which are available in that employee or a customer BO.
Okay, okay.
What
Got
is
it.
this two customer, two owner?
This is a keywords. Okay. This is a association. This is a keyword like how we have a element and node. This
This
is
two.
association. To customer, this is any name we can give. Just for our reference, we have given to customer. Like here, we can give something uh, like like any name we can give. It's not a
It's a
Yes.
specific
alias that we have given.
alias. Yeah, yeah. Like let's say this name we
This
have given, like status, like a
alias to
name.
this customer.
Yes, yeah. And this is a B1 name, business object name, which is available in the repository explorer. This is any name we can give, like two underscore customer to one to three, something like anything we can give. It's just for our reference. Why
This
we
is
are
just an
using this.
alias to the customer. This is just
Yes, yeah,
alias
yeah.
to the.
This owner, like let's say in this example, we are creating a workshop management. Like some company is hosting a workshops in a customer locations.
Mhm.
Okay, so to which customer they're hosting the workshop, that details we can get it in this association. And like who is the employee responsible, that we are storing it as an owner of this workshop, like that we can do it. So just for the doing this association, we just need the IDs like customer ID and owner ID. Once we have these two, we can just link it to that customer whole identity. So how we are seeing it here, right? This lead is linked to this customer ID. So using this customer ID, if we go to that involved parties, like there will be a customer here. They have done everything, I think.
The add sections will add that.
Sorry.
The through add sections will add the customer. I think so.
Yeah, like here for this lead, we are linking a customer here, but like this is a used by many people, right? Like they have hidden the customer. There will be one hyperlink here that I was checking, like similar to this created by. So created by, we will have some created by ID. And once we have this, we can directly open this and see all the employee details in that. So this ID will be linked to the lead. Okay, using this ID, we can
Yes,
fetch
yes.
all the employee details
Again,
in the backend. That's what I mean to say for the associations.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we were discussing on this deployment units as well, right? Like there will be a two different deployments units which we are using mainly in a C4C. So all the transactional data, like a sales order and then the tickets, leads, and opportunities, right? These will come under the customer relationship management deployment unit. And any master data like employee, material, and the customer, and then the contacts like a business partner, right? Those will be coming under the foundation deployment unit. So how to check? So this repository explorer, let's say this customer, you can see here the deployment unit, it is showing as a foundation. Okay, if we take any opportunity, so it is showing it as deployment unit customer relationship management. So why they have segregated the common things into a two deployment units. So let's say if we want to update any like from CRM deployment unit, we can update all the things which is available in a foundation. From the lead, we can update the employee details. Okay. But from employee, if you want to update any lead, direct access is not possible because this is in a different deployment unit and the sales order or the lead is in separate deployment unit. So for that, we have a separate concept called internal communication, which you will be using. If you want to update any lead from the employee, like the directly we can't update it. We have to either go with some other approaches, like one is it internal communication or else the web service. This is again like an interview question, so we can just make a note of it. Like cross deployment unit, like if you want to update right from the CRM, if you want to update any field in the foundation layer, that is possible. From here to here, it is possible. From foundation to customer CRM deployment unit, if you want to update any field, so either with the internal communication, we can't directly update it. Either with the internal communication or some other means, we have to do it. Okay. So we have that concept of internal communication. That time I will just explain you in detail, like I can show it in the back end, like what I mean, so that it will be better understandable. Just take this concept like deployment units, we have mainly using these two, customer relationship manager and foundation. This one we are not using much, human capital management. So all the transactional data will be coming under CRM and any master data will be under the foundation layer.
Uh, it's like,
Okay.
so from the foundational data we cannot go back directly to a sales order processing, I
CRM.
mean the customer
No,
relation.
not to go back. Let's say for a customer, there are 10 leads. Okay, so from when we are editing some field in a customer, you want to update some field in a lead as well. Okay,
Okay.
from the backend code, we can't directly refer that lead object in the customer event before save or event after modify. We can't directly update it.
Okay.
Okay, the
Yeah.
vice versa is possible. Like from the lead before save event, we can call the customer field and update it.
Okay. Can we go back to the other slide? And
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
so from here, we consider material and employee as a CRM. I did not quite get that.
Yes, any transaction data like a lead, opportunity, sales order, and
Okay.
this transactional data we have, right? All this comes under CRM unit.
Right.
All the master data like employee, customer, business partner, those things comes under a foundation. So all the list, like if you want to check like if this PO belongs to which deployment unit, we can just go to the repository explorer and search for this business object. You can see here this deployment unit. So opportunity will come under the CRM deployment unit.
Okay.
Okay, and then a customer will come under the
Foundation.
foundation layer deployment unit.
Okay.
So what I was saying is,
Uh,
let's say we have one customer
one question,
and we, yeah,
one clarity. I want one clarity here in our
yes, yes.
current system. Current
Mm-hmm,
system, we are assigning the territory to the customer, sorry, to the user.
mm,
So all the customer of the territory are being linked to the customer. So is there any way that directly one-to-one relationships is there, that one customer is assigned to one user, or only you can assign through territory only?
you mean to say sales, sorry,
Yes,
account
yes.
team
Sales,
maintenance?
the sales, what we are doing, territory
Mm,
means a district. In a district,
yes.
multiple sales user are going. So in
Mm,
our cases, we are assigning the district dot what is technical term is territory to the customer.
mm,
So
mm,
single territory can be multiple assigned to multiple user. In that case, what happen
mm,
if the territory has more than 10 customer, all
mm.
are seeing to all these users. So is there any
Yes.
one-to-one relationship is there that sales user one you only assign to customer one
No,
who
no, no. We don't have any concept like that. Like, let's say we have in the sales territory team, we have 10 employees, and like we have one
100?
customer assigned to that sales territory. So for the customer, all these 10 sales employees will be linked to that account. Let's say if we have 100 or thousands accounts,
I got it.
and for all the thousands account, the sales employees will be linked into that
All
customer.
the employees that link to the
Yes, yeah,
territory
that are
assigned
in
to
the
the
territory
territory.
will be linked to the customer. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Mm, okay. Yeah. So annotations, right? These are uh, the like keywords to make the give some additional context to that fields which we are creating. So let's say this alternative key. Okay, so this keyword can be used to a element. So it is a identity. Like we have to make any unique identifier for a node, right? We can define it as an alternative key. Let's say like customer ID or the lead ID. Those will be an alternative key, right? Like that will be a unique record. If you want to make any key as an unique, then we have to define the annotation alternative key. Okay, so this access control context, this will be at the element and association level we can give. Like this is related to our access to the uh, that field. Like in the UI, we have business roles, right? Business roles, we have the access restrictions. Like let's say based on the sales or the territory, those things we have, right? If you want to define that, this access control context, we can use it for that custom elements. Then this is a change history. If you want this can be assigned to a business object node or element or association. So the change history. Okay, let me show it to you. Okay, so this lead ID, this will be a unique key for each record, right? If you want to make the lead ID as a unique key, what we have to define in a backend, we have to define this field as an alternative key so that it will be unique. Okay, coming to this one, maybe we'll explain it later. Like this is a big concept like the access control, the change history. Let's say if we are changing any name, right? test status. Yeah, status we are changing it to open. So if we want to record changes for this field, so we can keep check in changes, right? So when this field was changed. Okay, so here you can see there are many things. Okay, here it happened. See, status I updated from start to open. So if you want to have a change history for any of the field or a node or a complete business object, we have to define this annotation change history next to that no business object node or elements. So how we are defining this annotations, I can just show it here. So like this, before the element, we are defining it as an alternative key. All right. This is a syntax for this alternative key. Okay, once we add this property to this element, this field will be a unique key. So we can have only one unique key per one custom view. We can't use it for all the elements. Only for one element we can use this alternative key. It's not mandatory to have, but if we are creating only one for one, by default,
It is the primary key that.
yes, yeah. If we don't refine any alternative key, there will be already a UUID which exists for each record which we are creating. That SAP will take care and create the UUID. Like if we have one alternative key of type UUID exists implicitly. Okay, if you don't want any
In the background, it is it will create UUID.
UUID is already there, yeah. And if you want to make one more field as an alternative key, like a user reference field, that we can define it as an alternative key for this, like workshop ID. But only one element can have be an alternative key. Like we can't give this same name to this here as well. Like name should also be alternative key. So only for one element we can define this. Okay. And then description is just to give the description of that node. This one we are not using much. And yeah, deployment unit, like if we are creating any business object, right, by default, like it will while creating a solution, we have this concept of deployment unit which we have to select. So by default, like all the business object which we comes under this solution will be under the same deployment unit as of solution one. What I mean is, yeah, so here you can see workshop management. This is a solution which is created in a foundation layer. Okay, by default, if you are creating any custom VO, all these custom VOs will be in a foundation layer. But if you want to create this business object for a CRM layer, right, we can use this deployment unit annotation here explicitly, and we can say that customer relationship management, so that it will create this PO in a CRM unit instead of a foundation layer. Okay, so this extension, this will be used only in extension view. So let's say this customer is already a standard view which was delivered by SAP. But if you want to add any custom fields to it, right, we can create a extension view. Once we create extension view, here you can see this extension is already added. This is an annotation for extending the standard business object. So this we won't use it, just we have this annotation, like all the annotations which we have. Okay, so this label is nothing but to define a label for an element. So for example, here we are showing, right, this yeah. So here for the technical, we just given it as a name, but in the UI we want this field to be described as a workshop name, so that we can use this label keyword and give the name which we want to display it in the UI. UI in the sense here in the front end. If I go to this one, we could have a, yeah. So this is the which we have. So backend, it is just a name, but here you can see it is showing as a workshop name. So this label we can provide it using this keyword. Okay, and like this is there is one more called the tooltip. So what does this means? So here when I hover on here, right, this is one black box is coming, right? You can observe that. When I hover on something, like that black box is coming, right? So if you want to add a different text for that pop-up as well, like the pop-up box, that we can define using this tooltip. Okay. And this one with administrative data, this can be assigned to a node or business object. So let's say we want to know who created it, who changed it. So all these data will be documented using this with administrative data. So if we are defining that annotation here, let's say for customer, we have this system administrative data. System. Okay, so here, yeah. So creation date time, who created it, who last change date time. So this node will be attached to this, and like let's say if we are creating it here, right? So it will show who created it and all those things. We can just check it out here. So these are the main annotations which we have for the business object definitions. So any queries on this part, like on the like how to create?
Not on annotations, but I'm still little confused on deployment units. And
Mm-hmm.
when we are talking with respect to foundation layer and CRM layer,
Mm-hmm.
is it the same thing that is that we have discussed in the deployment units, or?
Yes, yes, same thing. Like the deployments unit is nothing a concept of grouping of a business objects in a like one container, you can say. So here, this one, right? All CRM will contain all the transactional data. This is a kind of grouping.
Okay.
Yes, so and like uh, that's what like all the master data and transactional data we are grouping together, and they are in the SAP terms they are calling it as a deployment unit.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. But so when we consider customer relationship management and the foundation into two separate entities,
Mhm.
uh, and we move data from customer relationship management to the foundation management, it is possible. But in the other way, it
Yeah.
is
Not
possible with immediate
yes.
support.
Yes, yes, that we need. Maybe like once we have a concept of this internal communication, when we go to that section, right? I will
Yeah.
show it in the back end so it would be easy for understanding. For now, you just remember like these we have three foundation layers basically in the C4C. One is this customer relationship management, foundation, and human capital management. So what
Okay.
is the significance of this? Like it is just to um, group us related entities into a single container. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's the main thing of deployment units. So but like that cross deployment communications and all, we will check it in the further classes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So then like once that business object definition is done, then we have to add a logic to the our we need to add some logic, right, for the any validations or a field update. So that one we will do it in the this advanced business scripting language. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like when we are creating a BO, right? Object management, yeah. So we have like the for the root node, we have like by default SAP has provided some script files. So event after modify, before save, and on delete and on save. These were the events when which will be triggered when there is any change. Like let's say if I'm changing something like a name here, if I save this and click and enter, like this is a change, right? This is a change for a field, so it's an after modify. If you modify something and click on enter, the after modify event will trigger in the backend. Okay, so once all the changes are done, once you
So
click on a
what is the
save,
order of the event file? What is
yeah,
the
like
order?
that's what I am saying, right? Like if you change any field, like you will change one by one, right? Let's say you change a SAP BTP now, click on enter. So after modify will trigger. You change the customer ID and click on enter. So after modify script will trigger for this as well. Any change, like how many changes you do, that many times the after modify script will trigger. every time if there is any change in the edit mode, the after modifier script will trigger.
And how many events are there?
Totally 5 events we have. So that's what I was just explaining one by one. So
Yes,
first
yes.
one is the after modify. Okay. So if we do any change in the edit mode and click on enter, the after modify script will trigger. Okay. Once you click on a save here, okay, so this before save event will trigger.
Uh, got it.
Mhm. Okay.
Got it.
And validations on save. So like once you click a save, there will be two events which will be triggering. So before saving the record, it will check for this event will trigger event before save. Okay. After saving it, the validations will run. Validation on save. This validations is just to raise a error messages to a in the screen. Let's say this company maybe this is a mandatory field, but I'm not filling and say clicking on save. So we have to write some error messages, right? This company is a mandatory field. So that script that messages and all, and then the validations we have to write it in the validation on save script file. Okay. So these are the main ones like which we will be mostly using like after modify, uh, before save, and then on save. And then there is another script also called on delete. So once you here we don't have, I think if we have a delete option, so if we delete this record, so once we click on delete, this event on delete will trigger. And if you want to do something for that before deleting, that we can write a script files here in the on delete. So these were the script files which we have. So any coding which we write here, right? This is called the ABSL scripting. It is somewhat similar to the BODL, but instead of a element node and all, we will have a proper statement like coding statements, if else, those things. Okay. So ABSL language is used to write a business logic for the business objects. Okay. So usually, like we will have a control statement like if, while, and for loops in that. ABSL scripting, and we can have a query and then the exception handling, all those things like we can do it in that script files, right? That in the language which we are using is the ABSL scripting. Okay. So we can define the actions in the business object. As so this is a custom thing which we are defining. Let's say in the workshop management, we have one action like calculate total price. So this we are just defining. This is a script file. If you want to create a custom script file, we can define it as an action. So workshop management. Yeah, here. So here you can see this actions, right? Action calculate total price. So this one custom action, if you want to create, we can just define it as an action, and we can write a custom logic in that action. So we can use them in the
It is just a function.
ES function, which we have some particular code, and we can trigger it
Uh,
from the any of the events in the aftermath file. Let's say before
I
save,
got
we
it.
have
Got it.
this calculate cost. Instead of writing all complete code here, if you want to in the future, like if you want to just disable it, right? Instead of commenting all the code and something, like we can have a function which will be having a common code. If you want to trigger it for different purposes, that we can group it, and from there, like we can trigger either from any of our events, just like this calculate cost. So this will what it does, it will call the this action, and this logic will execute these two lines. Instead of writing these two lines directly here, like for example, we have written only two lines here, but in reality, it will be maybe like tens of hundreds of lines. So instead of writing everything in the event after modify, like if we want, we can create one action and call that action in that event. The common repetitive code.
Okay, it's clear.
And then yeah, that's what like the events I just explained you, right? There are 5 types of events like after modify, before save, validation on save, and after loading. Okay, this after loading, and that's what, like here you can see, right? After modify will trigger on any value change. Once you click on save, the before save executes, and like after saving, validation on save will trigger. Okay, on delete is nothing but deletion of event. And after loading, like let's say if we are opening this screen, right, from here, once we click on this, the screen loads. This is a after loading. This once the screen loads, this after loading script file will execute. That is nothing but loading of a screen. If you want to do some things when we are loading the screen, that time we can write a script in that after loading. But majority of times we will be using the after modify, before save, and validation save. This will be very rare. Okay. So yeah, just the explanation I have given it here. After modify, which will be trigger like every time when the object is modified. Before save will trigger when the save button is clicked. Again, like a same thing, validation on save. It is just to write the error message like validations. We have to do only the validation. We can't update any fields in the validation on save. This could also be an interview question, like they could ask, like let's say if we were updating some field, right? Whether we can write a logic in a validation on save or not. So we can't update any field using the validation on save script. It is just for a validation, like a true or false. It returns just true or false as a value. These things doesn't have a return statement, but validations on save have a return statement. It will consider only a true or false value. What I mean is, so here in the event after
Like a Boolean
before save,
operation.
yes, yeah. In the event before save, we are not returning anything. We are updating this. So number ID, like we are updating that value, and then the calculating the cost here, like the, okay, I'll just show you an example. It would be better. So here we have a code called number of attendees into price per participation will be a total cost. This we are calculating. Okay, where is it? Yeah, so 10 participants, and it's a 10 US dollars for participation. So I will just clear this value. Okay, so once I click on a save, the backend like event on save will trigger. So there we have a logic. So the total cost is nothing but a number of attendees into price per participant. So it should update as 100. So that logic we have, and then once we click on save, see here you can see like 10 into 10, it is updated here. So once we click on a save, right, this event before save script will trigger. From here it will go to this, and it will update this total cost content. Validation on save, yeah, we have customer this. Okay, so here we have written some validation. So from validation on save, you can see this return statement is a mandatory. If we don't write this, okay, so because sorry, here we have a return false, that's why it is taking like one return statement is mandatory. Yeah, return statement is missing, I can see. So a return statement, like we like it just takes a true or like we have to return true or false. Return statement is mandatory for a ABSL scripting file. Yeah, sorry, the validation on safe file. So here we have this like just want to raise an error message, like if the name is not is initial, which means like we don't have a name. Okay, so we are just raising please enter the details before saving the record. So just show you, let's see if we don't have a customer ID and save it. This field is a mandatory, and we have a return logic saying raise a error message, and it will raise an error message saying this dot name is initial, sorry, name, yeah. Okay, so it is showing like what is it? Get from DBs. Okay, on creation only. Okay, this is a condition which we have. Sorry, like let me check now. Yeah, so here you can see, right? Please fill all the mandatory field. Please enter the details before saving the record. This is the error message which we have written, but here we have written it only for a creation. So that's why it is rising only on creation time, okay, not on every save. That concept we will see once we are doing it. I'm just explaining you how the validation on save works. If we have any mandatory fields or any custom messages, if we want to raise and prevent the users from saving it, we have to write that logic in a validation on save event script. Got it? And then the after loading, yeah, that's what like this. Once the screen loads, right, that time this after loading event will trigger, and on delete will trigger when they were deleting an instance. Okay, and there is some limitations for using this after loading event. So if in the after loading event, we cannot read and modify a transient field of another node. Okay, modify a persistent field and create or delete a node or call an action. We can't call an action from this after loading event. There will be two types of fields, right? Like if persistent field is nothing but a field which is stored in a database. Okay, in the after modify, we can only update the transient fields. Transient fields is nothing but like which is not stored in the database and specific to that user session. Okay, and then create a delete a node is nothing but we can't create any nodes in that after loading event. Did you get the transient and the persistent field, like what it is means? Persistent is mean nothing but the values which will be stored in the database. Okay, so once I click on a save, right, this data will be stored in a database. So for example, like we have this name, right? This is a field which we created in a BO, named it as workshop. So workshop date, right? So this is a persistent field, means like this data will be stored in a database, and once we load it to the next time, this data will stay. Okay, there is another type.
Which database it using?
Sorry, from the for the C4C side, like this will be HANA database, but it will be visible, not be interacting with
Uh,
just like we will like we don't have access to the database. Like it will be all maintained by SAP. Yes.
so we cannot execute the database manually. Only through
Uh, yes,
C4C.
only via queries we can do that. That's it. Like
This
we
is
have
fine.
here create query and execute query. We don't have a direct access to database, but we can execute a query.
Only
So
manipulate through the queries.
queries, yes. We can't directly access the database. That's what like in the fields which are stored in a database is called a persistent fields. And let's say now you save some name here and you close it. Next time when you open this field, like it would be blank. So those type of fields will be called as an transient fields. Okay, that will be a session specific. Like once you open the screen and modify something till you are in this screen, that will be there. Once you close this field, that field data will be lost. That is called a transient field. Okay, it's just a session specific. That we have some use cases, we will explain it later. That is just for our internal calculations and all, we will use the transient fields. Okay. Yeah, this reuse library, it's just a reuse function, like a same logic. If you want to use it in a multiple um, places, right, we can use this as a concept called a reuse library. This link, just a minute.
So you will provide these notes to us, no? So we'll go through this.
Yes, sure, I will provide this. But like on every class, I need to forward this, or how it is?
Yes. So After the
Okay,
class, we will go through all these notes and
sure,
starting
sure.
preparing.
I will share this complete PPT. Like maybe you can go through this. Not an issue.
Um, that's fine.
Thank you.
So we have this. Yeah, these were the basic SAP reuse libraries which are provided by SAP. So if you want to get the current login user from, like, let's say if I am logged in, so in the backend you want to get the user who has logged in, right? There is a reuse library called context get current identity UID. Using this function, you can get the user who is logged in. Similarly, we have a current global date time, like what's the current date time, system date time, all those things which we have, like the SAP has provided this reuse libraries, so which we can use it to get some predefined values, like let's say for the getting like who has logged in and what's the system date, and then for the date we have again like the same thing, like we can create a date mm, and to check like whether the date is greater than or equal to the other dates and all, right? It's just a predefined functions which is provided by SAP. Instead of us creating a script file to check like what month it is, we can use this date function to get a month. Like we have a complete date, in that we want to get only the month, which is nothing but this 02. So instead of us writing the custom code to get this part, SAP has already provided this function. If you call this function, it will give the month. Okay, so that is the concept of a reuse libraries. It's nothing but a predefined logic to get a certain replies back to us. Okay, so in the ABSL scripting, we will be using like mostly the loop, three types of loop, as like it's similar to the other scripting languages. So while loop is nothing but like till we have any this condition is satisfied, we'll be executing this loop. For each loop is nothing but like, let's say we have a list of 10 items. If we want to traverse through each list item, then we can go with a for each loop. Let's say we have 10 records. We want to repeat it for 10 times, then we can go with the for each loop. Okay, the syntax is same, like while this condition is true, then the curly braces, and then the what we want to do in the inside that while loop. For each, like this will be a like and this is a variable which will define, and then the syntax is this open and close curly braces, and then this one. Okay, and then if else, like it's just similar to the other scripting languages. Like if the condition is true, this block will execute. If the condition is not certified, else loop will get executed. Okay, and then the switch case. Yeah, again, if this condition is returning as one, case one means this block will trigger. If it is consistency code is two, then this message, like multiple cases if we have, so we can write a switch case in the backend. Okay, so yep, maybe we'll go through this functions once this. What I mean is like this loops, right? Which we have this condition. If this condition is satisfying, then we will do something. If this is not, like we will have like we can have multiple like if and else loops, or just a if loop without any else loop. So if this condition fails, this is a syntax with the curly braces we need to write, and something we can do it here. So if this condition is true, this code will execute. If not, this will execute. These are the basic loops which we have. And then yeah, similar to the what we saw, that built-in generic libraries, right? We have functions as well, which is called like a clear function. If you want to clear a value of any field, we can use this. Here you can see, right, this dot workshop ID. Instead of that, if we just use a function called clear, it will clear that value for this field. Okay, so this is a function just to clear the value, and is initial. So it is to check whether the value is blank or not. Okay, it returns a boolean value. Let's say we want to check if the number of attendees field is blank. So if we want to check that if it is a blank, like we have a function called is initial, right? If you want to check any, like here you can see number of attendees, we are checking if it is initial. So this initial will return a boolean, like if it is empty, it will return it as true. If it is not empty, it will return it as false. Okay, and then the toString. So like it will convert any number value to a string value. So this is a link like I have provided for the built-in function from SAP. You can go through all the functions which we have. But these are the just examples which I have given. Okay. Then what we have? Yeah, so built-in function, maybe like this built-in functions we will go through in the next sessions. So this one would be fine, and then we can, yeah, maybe from tomorrow session, like we will create a custom solution, and we have this example, like we can create a custom view in the backend using the which is nothing but a workshop data for a customer with all these fields, and then the association and the business logic. Like from tomorrow we can start with the hands-on sessions. Okay, so any queries till now, like this built-in functions, I will take it up later, because first we'll complete the like small, we will create one solution and a small use case, then it will be understandable.
Yeah, I'm good for now.
Yeah,
I'm also
okay.
good for now. Please provide the notes so we'll go through and come back with any doubts tomorrow.
Sure, I will provide you the notes. So yeah, maybe we quick recap. If we do, we just learned what is the business object definition language and what is the ABSL, and then we
Yes.
have learned, yeah,
No, nothing. It's clear.
yeah. So like how to define a element, and then the association and the node. We have just checked it in theory. Like we will in the next sessions we will create this, and then we have learned like what are the events which we have for the each node. So any, like if you are creating any node, so by default we will have this five scripting files which will events which are providing after modify, before save, validation on save, and then after loading and the on delete script file. So using that we can write our custom logic. And then we have gone through like basic syntax for the if statements, and then the while loop and the for loop. Okay, so tomorrow I will not be available to take a session. Maybe Sunday or yeah, Sunday we can have a next session. Like
It's
in
fine.
week, want to have a sessions or only in a weekdays? You prefer, like how it is?
Weekends works for me, but just this Sunday I'm just